Hello, my name is Sherry Lewis, and I want to welcome you to our first week of our study of No Other Gods by Kelly Minter at Heart to Heart Women's Bible Study. I am so excited to begin this adventure with you. This is an unrivaled pursuit of intimacy with Christ. That is what this study will be all about. We will learn to demolish the strongholds, the distractions, the hindrances, the things in our lives that prevent us from experiencing the fullness and the deepest intimacy that we can have in our relationship with Christ. In the book of Revelation, in chapter 2, this is what Jesus said for John to write down. And he was speaking to the church at Ephesus. He said, "I know your works, your labor and your endurance, and that you cannot tolerate evil people. You have tested those who call themselves apostles and are not, and you have found them to be liars. I know that you have persevered and endured hardships for the sake of my name and have not grown weary." So Jesus spoke of many positive things that the Ephesians were doing at this time. And many of us in our lives, I'm sure that Jesus could look at our hearts and list many things that we are doing well. But there was fault found, one very specific fault found in this church. And you'll see in verse 4, Jesus said, "But I have this against you. You have abandoned the love you had at first. Remember then how far you have fallen. Repent and do the works you did at first." So no matter how diligent we are in our Bible studies and how sacrificially we serve and how deep and wholeheartedly we worship God, here is the question that I want to ask. Is He absolutely the first love of your life and of your heart? Is your heart undivided and completely satisfied in your relationship with Him? And if you are hopelessly in love with Jesus, well, welcome. That is the most wonderful place to be. However, we will learn to discover that there will always be things that can very easily pull us. We have the tendency, just for the fact that we live in a human body and that we have minds, that have a tendency to stray. And we've got to be careful. We need to be able to recognize those things. So I'm excited in this study that we're going to start recognizing those things and identify them and learn how to abolish them. And then we're not going to stop there. We're going to fill the void by pursuing Christ with all that is in us and learning to develop a deeper, more intimate relationship than maybe we've ever experienced. No matter how close I've ever been, I always want more. I always long for more of Christ. And we will continue this growth until we reach eternity, until we see Him in glory one day. I want to be as deep as possible. And I believe that this study will be a tremendous time of growth. Now, with the title, No Other Gods, we're going to be following the Israelites in their journey as God had delivered them from slavery and into freedom. And when God gave them the 10 Commandments, the very first part of the law, the very first command was that in Exodus chapter 20, verse 3, He said, "You shall have no other gods before me." And then in the second command, He said, "You shall not worship idols." Now, when we see these two commands, we have a tendency to picture, the little Buddha dolls or the little statues or that people bow down to, and we think, well, that is not like us. But I want to read this definition to you. You're going to see in our first week of study. This is by Ken Sande. "Most of us think of an idol as a statue of wood, stone, or metal that was worshipped by pagan people. In biblical terms, it is something other than God that we set our heart on, that motivates us, that masters us or rules us, or that we trust, fear, or serve. An idol can also be referred to as a false god or a functional god." And of course, all of these have scriptural references. And what we mean by a functional God, there's a difference between the God that we profess and then the God that actually functions as our God, that again is something that motivates us and masters us and rules us, that we fear and serve and trust, and all those things, what we turn to in our time of need to satisfy us. We're going to learn to let go of those things that we've always run to that can never meet that need, that only bring us to a certain level and then always let us down in the end. We're going to find true satisfaction in Christ, and that's what I'm excited about. Well, this week, what you will be doing, let's get started first of all with the materials that you need, and then I'll instruct you on what you need to be doing for the week. First of all, in order to participate, you do need the book. If you do not have it yet, this is a copy of the book, No Other Gods by Kelly Minter. And this is available at Lifeway in the bookstore or at lifeway.com. You can also go to Kelly Minter's website, kellyminter.com, and find it there, or on Amazon or christianbook.com. We also absolutely must have a Bible, because this is going to be our #1 textbook. And translation is not that important, except you want to make sure that you get one that is accurate to the original translation. There are word-for-word translations such as New American Standard and King James and English Standard Version, or ESV. Those are very literal. But also, Kelly will be using the CSB, or the Christian Standard Bible, which is a blend of using very literal, accurate word-for-word translation, but where the phrases became difficult to understand, then they translated the entire phrase just to make it a little easier. So it's kind of a hybrid between word for word and thought for thought. I don't want to go too much into translations, but if you want to be consistent with what Kelly Minter is using in the study, then I do recommend the Christian Standard Version or the CSB Bible. All right. I also think that for deeper understanding, what I recommend is BibleGateway.com, where you can look at several translations at once, and you will see the similarities, and where a word may be difficult to understand in another translation, it may clarify it for you so that your understanding is a little bit deeper. Beyond that, I also recommend having a journal, and all I take is just a simple spiral notebook, and where I take notes. I write down my favorite quotes sometimes. I write down prayer requests from the small groups, things like that. And then, of course, a good selection of colored pencils, highlighters, Bible highlighters that won't go through. And this will help the truths to stand out to you. All right, now that's all the stuff. If you haven't registered yet, be sure to go to sherrylewis.org and register for our study. But if you have registered, let's see where we need to go from there. This week, I encourage you to get involved in a small group. So far, we have 4 groups available. We may add more later depending on, how active we are. We have a Monday night group, a Wednesday morning group, a Thursday very late night group, and then a Saturday morning group. So go to our Facebook group page. This is where all the small groups will take place. And our group is called Heart to Heart Women's Bible Study. And if you haven't joined yet, make sure you request to join the group, and you will see the pinned post, or the very top post, that gives you the schedule for our small groups. Now, all you have to do is, for example, if you want to come to our Monday night group, then you'll see at Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern or 6 p.m. Pacific that we have a small group that meets. So at that time, go into the Facebook group, just right there in the group. We're not going to have events or anything like that. What we will do is we will just post a picture, and the picture will identify the group, and the discussion takes place under there. We will ask a few questions to help you to get into the discussion, and then we will encourage and support each other. We will have time of prayer together, a deep time of growth and encouragement. Also, in the group, we will have activities throughout the week that you can be involved in to help us to engage a little more deeply in the study, and also to get to know each other a little more. I also want to encourage you to reach out to the leaders. If you are struggling to understand or to keep up, you will see all of the small group leaders. We are all available to pray with you or to encourage you. So reach out to us if you need us in any way. And let's see if I've got everything here. If you need more information, again, you can find that at sherrylewis.org. And I think that's about it to get you started. So once you do an introductory small group, you do not have to do any homework ahead of time this week. We are just launching and doing an introduction. But if you'll notice the way that the book is set up, session 1 is just an introductory video. And Kelly Minter, she just does a simple introduction. At lifeway.com, you can look for videos or audio recording, and they are a lot less expensive now than they used to be. You can actually download the audio version for only 99 cents. And if that's expensive, this is not required in any way, because I know that it can add up after 8 weeks. The cost can add up, and so we don't want you to go through any expense that you don't have to. So you don't have to do those. I will be doing teaching videos starting next week as well. But in her session 1 video, I recommend you can rent the video, or you can download the audio, like I said, for only 99 cents. But that's all there is for session 1. Then the very next part is session 2, which begins your weekly homework. So really, this week, we're starting on session 2. While we're doing our introductory small groups, what you will be doing for 5 days between now and the next of the week of the group for next week, you will do 5 days of homework in the session 2 section. Be sure to look for the reading schedule in the blog, and this will help you to keep track of where you need to be. Every single week, in our small groups, we will talk about what we studied the week before. So you're studying session 2 this week, and then next week in our small groups, we will talk about what we studied while you are beginning to prepare for session 3. So there'll be a constant overlapping there. I hope that makes sense to you. So I hope all of this makes sense. That's all you need to be working on, just the small groups and the session 2 study and the optional audio or video at lifeway.com, but you do not have to do that. That is it. I pray God's blessings. I pray that God will help you to discover the things in your heart that you need to release, and that He'll give you the courage and the strength, that He'll make it very clear to you what we need to let go of, and then show us how to pursue Him with a white-hot passion and with utmost wonder of who He is, and to discover a deeper, more intimate and fulfilling relationship with God than ever before. I can't wait to meet with you. I hope you have a wonderful, blessed first week of study, and I hope to see you in a small group. God bless.